Alright, I'm going to now review full screen, except cookies, sure. So I would say add some transition words here, but I don't think it matters that much since this is philosophy and not English. Wait, I swear you wanted me to help you with your English assignment. How did it come to this? Continuously question themselves. Well, notice more obstacles, however, will achieve greater wisdom by overcoming them, making life more worth living. Yeah, these are great points. You can use words such as worthwhile. If you use worthwhile, that would make up for worth living. You can talk about how people can reflect on their ignorance. That would cover acknowledging and questioning themselves. You can be specific as well. I feel like it's okay. You don't really have to have that much emphasis on the English part for a philosophy course, but I could be wrong because I've not taken a philosophy course yet. Reason for selection I chose is, yeah, it's pretty clear what you're trying to say here. I don't know if I'm trying to edit this since it's in a Canva. So yeah, it's also part of a philosophy course, not really English. I feel like what you have to say here is fine. It's just that a lot of things can be reworded, but like only for the purpose of formal writing, which is not probably something you must have. My visual shows a woman pondering between... Okay, yeah, that's quite a nice metaphor. That's a pretty good image. It does illustrate that you can live a meaningless life, like both no good stuff and bad stuff, or you can live quite the adventurous life, but obviously you can have good and bad. It's a pretty good visual representation. Yeah, this is pretty good in terms of what you have to say. Some of the English, like up to here is pretty decent, and then you can say, like, I guess some of these can be reworded, but overall it's not too bad in terms of what you have to say. If anybody says it's mid, they're probably only talking about your English in terms of how jumpy the words might feel, because what you're saying here, I feel like I used to write English like this as well, where I would think about English so super logically and then my wording would be super jumpy. But if you think of English like as a flow of language and start to incorporate metaphors and other diction to, let's say, provide the readers with some imagery, then you'll get better flow in the future if you just try that, which is kind of how I learned to have better flow myself. So let's just take a look specifically. The unexamined life is not worth living. You forgot to put quotation marks around this. I believe this quote expresses criticism towards a life with no self. So you could say there are several instances throughout one's lifetime, or you don't really have to word it like that. And then you could say when we have to choose between, you can call that like a dilemma. It's not really a dilemma, but you can also say contemplate. And this is like very abstract in the sense that you're generalizing it for everything. But like if you just give a concrete idea, I guess you did give concrete ideas later, but concrete ideas can be like going above and beyond in an assignment. And then you can specify what that really means, or choosing to do all that you're required to do. Or another concrete idea is going above and beyond, getting into a great university and establishing a nice life for yourself, whereas you could just not try at all. And seriously, by not try, I mean like less than Asian standards, where you just go to college and you make an alright wage and sort of survive in the Canadian, I guess you can call it inflation. Yeah, you can sort of survive in inflation. That's where you have less obstacles because you have less adventurous things in your life. As a result, it's a little easier for you, but your life is also not as cool as maybe somebody who went to university and they went through their hardships and they built an even greater life for themselves. Of course, this is a choice for the person or for the individual themselves, but of course, because you're presenting this quite objectively, or just for the purpose of, or not objectively, but in an expository manner. Yeah, just exemplifying all these features, not necessarily saying that you, unless you're trying to argue that you want to be I guess what's being argued is to not live the type of life where your life isn't eventful. So a lot of these are like very generalized. Definitely give some abstract, they are abstract. Definitely give some concrete examples. Those who do not acknowledge their ignorance will not, yeah, sounds very jumpy, but that's also not really the point of this assignment. You can talk about the importance of reflecting, as I mentioned before. You can also, yeah, I think I already gave you a suggestion on this side. For this side, yeah, I don't know if you can see my mouse because you're on there right now. Their life's path will be plain with no obstacles, which Socrates considers a life not worth living. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's put in your own words. I don't really bother to reword this for you right now because it does get straight to the point, And I don't think this is an English assignment, but here. Okay, reason for selection. I believe merely doing. So I guess if you want to come down to work, down to earth, you're just saying, you're criticizing the issue of just doing the bare minimum, which is not going to bring too much to your life, because doing the bare minimum will only get you so far. And you can expand on that idea according to however you interpret it to be, or however you want to argue about that. Students will be able to identify what they truly want to do. So when you say truly want to do, you might want to also give a concrete example, because what students may truly want to do might differ for everyone, and even the teacher would probably go like, what does a jisue mean by this, right? So I don't know if it's that important, but yeah, think about that. Personally, this quote served as a reminder of the importance of self-inspection in one's life. That's quite an interesting way to put it, but yeah, you can talk about mindfulness, self-reflection, or I don't know if you ever suggest like methods, like you talk about this, but I don't know if you ever suggest like, okay, as a result, if you agree with me, what should you do? Like mindfulness, I guess people do yoga, meditation, I guess peace of mind hours, if that's a thing. Application to life. People have the tendency to stick to their accustomed lives. In other words, yeah, habits. People are bound by their habits. I mean, literally, I just reworded it for you. People are bound by their habits. It kind of covers that up. The way I reword things may be a little bit concise. If it is, I guess it's up to you to update your own flow and diction, but in my opinion, I feel like you got straight to the point for most of these, so I feel like not too much concern has to be around your English, because yeah, I can understand this. The quote is applicable to my future career pathway. Yeah, you just kind of mentioned it, so you're allowing your audience to take it for granted, or in this case your teacher to take that for granted. You might want to expand on the idea if it holds any relevance. If not, then it's okay, but I assume that you might want to, maybe. For many students entering university, the few years after enrollment are when okay, maybe if that's relevant to you, I'd say likewise to myself, right? Whether that be academics or for careers, when striving and venturing for better opportunities will construct a better future for myself through trial and error. Or inversely, or conversely actually, you would talk about how going above and beyond, or whatever the metaphor you're arguing, results in, or would look like, what would that look like, is striving and venturing for better opportunities. And you want to give a concrete example, such as, I guess, for me, I guess I went to prep courses, I went to Olympiads, I tried to study, I guess, let's say calculus BC. As a result, right now I'm in university and I have it a lot easier than other people in a calculus course for computer science. That's like a concrete example. I'm not sure how much you have to give concrete examples, or to what degree you do have to give them or provide them at. Butterfly effect, yeah, this is a very good point. Pondering. So when it comes to diction, pondering would work, but it doesn't necessarily fit in this context comfortably. I guess a word such as contemplating would make more sense, because if you see the definition between pondering and contemplating, contemplating is going to be a little bit stronger in the visual or vivid appeal of the word, of just like the artistic aspect of the definition, if that even makes any sense to you. So yeah, word choice is not too much of a matter, but if you are concerned about that, just try to visualize which word has a greater imagery or emotional appeal. There is a butterfly which depicts the unexpected joys of life. We could say towards the left panel, right? The glistening butterflies depict, or whatever, and then that alludes, or you can say that demonstrates, not necessarily demonstrates, but that signifies or symbolizes the Yeah, you pretty much said that, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't really matter. Your English is fine. It's not like you're writing an English essay, although I can give you the suggestions. I am now. The right is a dark path and gloomy without any obstacles, with no object symbolizing hope or happiness as well. I guess if you really wanted to reword that, you could say towards the right. I guess you could talk about how the atmosphere is depicted to be a lot darker. It lacks both obstacles and I guess joys and obstacles. So yeah, it symbolizes, or you could just say it straight up represents the lack of eventfulness, adventurousness. That's not really the right way to put it, but yeah, symbolizing hope, or with no object symbolizing hope or happiness. Yep. As well is kind of redundant here. That's just an English thing. Depending on how you reword your sentence, of course. By including numerous visual elements, I aim to emphasize the contrast between a life lived, okay, with continuous inquiry, and a life without any. So yeah, this is pretty logical the way you wrote the English, but the reason why it could sound jumpy is because this can be expressed like yeah, the first sentence is fine. Normally you want a comma here, but yeah, nobody really cares about these little things for philosophy, I wouldn't say. I don't think. Yeah, through numerous visual elements. So you didn't really include numerous visual elements, you included a singular panel, but you can discuss, or you can talk about how you discussed these individual aspects or these individual elements in each panel of the singular visual element, and you can talk about how that emphasizes the contrast, like put specifically or strictly as in the means of an image. Yeah, we're excited. So yeah, it's pretty much okay. I don't know if anything I've said here gives too much value to you, but yeah, I'll just give that to you for your own interpretation. I don't think I can actually go out of my way to edit your stuff. I could, like if it was a Google Docs and I did suggesting, but because it's on a Canva and you made your point pretty clear, yeah, I would really advocate for, I would just genuinely suggest take whatever you got from my verbal advice and implement it as you see such, however you see, so that way you both get to incorporate some advice and you're able to learn a little bit from, I guess, the style improvements in terms of writing, so that you can incorporate this next time on your own as well. And that would be going towards your learning, which is good. Let me know if, I don't know, if you got anything out of this. So yeah, see ya.